Ever feel like just going in for a routine checkup can kind of turn your world upside down?
Hmm.
One minute you're feeling fine, the next you're getting handed a diagnosis and a whole lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving into a study that has me thinking differently about those early health scares, particularly when it comes to heart health.
And it's fascinating stuff. We're talking about a 13-year research project out of Finland,
Oh, wow.
published in the Journal of Hypertension.
Okay.
That really dives deep into the long-term impact of early hypertension detection.
13 years. That's a long time to track a study. So
Yeah.
tell me, what makes this research stand out? What makes it worth a deep dive?
Well, I think what's so compelling is that it followed a group of everyday people in Finland between the ages of 45 and 70 who initially had no history of heart disease or diabetes.
Okay, so we're not talking about folks who are already high risk.
Right,
This was a pretty average group of adults.
exactly. And the researchers divided them into three groups: those with normal blood pressure, those newly diagnosed with hypertension through the study, and those already on medication for existing hypertension.
Okay.
They wanted to see how the risk of dying, especially from heart issues, differed across these groups.
So, painting a picture for me here. We've got our three groups, living their lives for 13 years. What did they find?
Well, here's the kicker. The group diagnosed early with hypertension, meaning they only found out because of this study screening, had a similar risk of dying from heart problems as those who started with perfectly healthy blood pressure.
Wait, seriously. So even though they got this diagnosis, they were no more likely to die from heart issues than folks starting off with no problems.
Yeah,
That's wild. But I'm guessing there's more to the story.
you're right. The key here is that this lower risk was seen after they received guidance and basic care based on their new diagnosis. They weren't just told, you have hypertension, good luck.
Right, because knowledge without action isn't exactly helpful.
Mhm.
So it's not just about early detection, but what you do with that information.
Absolutely. And here's where it gets really interesting. The group already on medication, despite having their blood pressure managed, actually had the highest risk of dying out of all three groups.
Now, that doesn't seem right. If you're already getting treated, shouldn't that be better than finding out for the first time?
That's the head scratcher that this research tries to unpack, right?
Yeah.
It suggests that there's more to the puzzle than just a blood pressure reading at one point in time.
Okay, so it's more nuanced than that.
Right.
What are some of the theories researchers are looking at?
Well, one idea is something called silent damage. Imagine this. You could have elevated blood pressure for years without even realizing it. Your body might be silently struggling, even if you feel fine.
Oh, wow. So like a ticking time bomb you don't even know about? That's a bit scary, honestly.
Yeah. Exactly why those checkups are so crucial, even when you think you're the picture of health. And to add to that, the study found that the group already on medication was also more likely to have other health conditions.
Like what? What other factors came into play?
Things like high cholesterol or diabetes were more prevalent in that group. It really highlights how interconnected our health is. It's not just about addressing one issue in isolation.
So you could say it's less about putting all your focus on one health factor and more about understanding the whole picture.
Precisely. And this is where the study's approach comes into play. They didn't just hand out blood pressure meds and call it a day. This was a multifactorial intervention.
Multifactorial intervention.
This
Sounds
is-
fancy. Break that down for me. What does that actually mean?
It means they tackled the problem from multiple angles. Picture this. You're not just handed a prescription, you're given personalized advice on diet, exercise, maybe even stress reduction techniques. It's like having a health coach in your corner.
Okay, that makes way more sense than just some jargony term. So it's about giving people the tools and support they need to make lasting changes. Did they find that this approach was helpful?
The results suggest it made a big difference. Not only did the newly diagnosed group see those encouraging mortality rates, but the study also stumbled upon a surprising connection to diabetes.
Diabetes, hold on, that wasn't even the focus here, right?
Right. But it turns out that being newly diagnosed with diabetes at the beginning of the study was a strong predictor of, well, not so great outcomes,
Oh, no.
even stronger than a hypertension in some instances.
Wow, that's a huge curveball. It really makes you think about how interconnected our health truly is.
It does. And it underscores the importance of that holistic perspective, especially when it comes to something as complex as heart health. This study really drives home that point.
So for our listener out there who maybe has been putting off that doctor's appointment or hasn't had their blood pressure checked in a while, what's the big takeaway from all of this? What's the one thing they should remember from this deep dive?
It's simple. Early detection, paired with the right support, can make all the difference. It's about taking ownership of your health, being proactive rather than reactive.
I love that. So instead of waiting for symptoms to show up, this research suggests that early intervention could be a game changer.
Exactly. And it's not just about tacking years onto your life, but adding life to your years,
Yeah.
improving the quality of that time.
That's a powerful way to put it. Now, no study is perfect.
Yeah.
Were there any limitations to this research that we should keep in mind?
Well, you're right to be cautious. Um, the researchers themselves acknowledged that they didn't continuously track blood pressure throughout the entire 13 years.
Oh, okay.
Having more data points over time would have painted an even clearer picture.
So while they took those initial measurements, they didn't see how those numbers might have fluctuated over the years.
Right.
Makes sense.
Exactly. But even with that limitation, the study's findings are significant. Remember, this was a large-scale study with a long follow-up period, and the results strongly suggest that early detection paired with proactive health management can significantly impact one's well-being.
Okay, so the message is loud and clear. Getting your blood pressure checked matters, and taking action based on those results is key. Now, before we wrap up this fascinating deep dive, anything else about this research that struck you? Any big aha moments?
Yeah, one thing that really stood out to me was that even among the group already on medication at the study's start, there were often less than ideal blood pressure readings.
So even though they were receiving treatment, their blood pressure wasn't always well controlled. What's going on there?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It suggests that medication alone might not be enough. We need to consider things like adherence to medication regimens or people taking their medications as prescribed.
It's true. Life gets busy, and it's easy to forget a dose here and there, even with the best intentions.
Absolutely. And then there's the question of lifestyle. People might think, I'm on medication, so I can eat whatever I want or skip my workouts. But that's not how it works.
Right. It goes back to that multifactorial approach we were talking about. Medication might be part of the equation, but it's not a magic bullet. Lifestyle choices still matter.
Exactly. And we can't forget about potential side effects from medication. Some people might experience side effects that lead them to stop taking their medication altogether without even consulting their doctor. And that
Yeah.
can be a slippery slope.
It's like you're juggling a bunch of different factors all at once. The medication, your lifestyle, how your body responds to treatment. It makes you realize there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
You hit the nail on the head. And that's precisely why open communication with your doctor is so crucial. If you're struggling to keep up with your medication or experiencing side effects, don't suffer in silence. Talk to your doctor. They're there to help you find the best path forward, not to judge.
It's a team effort. You're partners in your own healthcare journey.
Exactly. So as we wrap up our deep dive today, the key takeaway is this. Your health is an ongoing journey, not a destination. It's about making informed choices, staying engaged, and having open conversations with your healthcare providers.
It's about being proactive, informed, and engaged. It all starts with that first step, whether it's booking a checkup, having a chat with your doctor, or even just committing to one small lifestyle change.
Small steps, big wins. And remember, even those small changes, when you stick with them over time, can have a huge impact on your long-term health.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. It's definitely got me thinking about my own health journey. As always, we encourage you to check out the full research paper if you're eager to explore the nitty-gritty details. We'll drop a link in the show notes. Until next time, stay curious and take care of yourselves.